Hello, my name's Annette. I'm a four-year political science student. Can y'all hear me? I should turn it this way.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, so I am doing the first assignment where I did an interview on my boss. Um, I was originally going to do my assignment on someone else who was my best friend's grandmother, but she was unavailable. She basically, after like the first interview, didn't feel comfortable with the questions. And I was like talking to this with my boss, who was like, "Oh, I'm an open book. I could do this for you." Um, so yeah, she from just doing this interview with her, I learned a lot about her and how like she is an advocate for people because in the past she hasn't had people advocate for her. So I'm pretty she's fine with me sharing her name. It's Divina, and if I say it any other time, it's because she's okay with it. So yeah, so she is a canvasser with humanitarian organizations. She supports women in poverty who are usually food insecure and only have dangerous options for income. So that means that she like really feels a sense of like advocacy for these women. And through her interview, I learned that she's actually experienced similar things. And but she recognizes that because she was born in the United States, she has like more options and better opportunities than women who weren't born in the U.S. So she was born in Rochester, New York, and from my interviews, I basically learned that she is a fighter. Her favorite memory was a story of when her grandmother helped her get her water wings by pushing her into a public pool and basically saying "swim or die" with her thick Ukrainian accent. Um, so her family is like this conservative family who is in various parts of the world. They are a pretty Jewish community with different Jewish ethnicities. Some of them are from Ukraine, Tunisia, Sicily, and other parts, which gives her like a good knowledge of different cultures. So she's super strong and resilient. I see this every day when I work with her as a canvasser. And she is like a person with different types of identities, ranging from being in the Navy to being Jewish and also being a trans woman. Because she is a trans woman, that identity was something that she couldn't uh, agree with her family. Her family, because their experience extremely conservative, they couldn't get past the fact that she felt this way. And by when I asked her what was her biggest obstacle as a child, she was basically saying expressing herself as a woman was her biggest obstacle. She now doesn't speak with too many of her family members. She actually, at the age of 19, decided to separate from her family. She only had one person in her family that she felt close to, and that was her grandfather, who she named Uncle Happy. Uncle Happy is a big reason that she is the person she is today because he was extremely knowledgeable. He was a history teacher, and she basically learned about history for fun. So she learned early about anti-Semitism, the Holocaust, a lot of different cultures in various parts of the Middle East. And at the age of 19, she decided that she felt that it would be best that she separates from her conservative families and tries to do what she thinks is best for her. And at the time, that was joining the Navy. I asked her what her biggest obstacle was during her time in the Navy, and she said that she was very athletic, so she didn't have too many problems with like doing the actual practices and the trainings, and she was actually excelling in long distance shooting. Um, the only problem she had was just being a woman in the military and received a lot of misogyny and saw other women be mistreated, and also saw a lot of social issues, from racism to even like assault on women. So I asked her like what was the good things of the military, and the Navy, I'm sorry. And she said being able to travel and see other parts of the world. She went to like so many places. She's been to like from Syria to parts of Greece and like other parts and Turkey and other areas, like so many. She says that from visiting these areas, she's got an appreciation for the United States and how they give you at least the opportunity to get the freedom of speech that you're allowed to have. also freedom of expression, because she recognizes that she as a transgendered woman might not have those opportunities to be safe in her environment. Now, that does not mean that she doesn't experience discrimination as a transgendered woman. Even on the job with her, I have seen how people treat her, and it kind of makes me question my faith in humanity sometimes. One of the worst stories she told me about discrimination as a trans woman was when she walks through home. She lives like only 5 minutes away from our office. And in those 5 minutes, sometimes she is catcalled, and on worst occasions, she has a rock thrown at her. So that's very unfortunate. Because of her identity, multiple facets of her identity, she experiences different reactions as a Jewish person. She has been discriminated against in the workplace, where she basically, there is a religious holiday. I believe it's called Tom Kippur. I have to make sure. But basically, this holiday is considered one of the holiest days on October 4th to 5th. Yom Kippur. I'm sorry. And this holiday, they threatened her position in the company if she did not go to work that day, which she ended up not going to work. And she was once again jobless for a small amount of time. She also has a lot of tattoos that will sometimes get her some type of discrimination. For example, she has the Star of David on her hand, and many police officers will target her thinking that it's some type of gang affiliated tattoo. So that just shows like a lack of awareness on a lot of different cultures that needs to be like recognized, because we don't want more people being she was born 1993, so it wasn't too recent that they tried to fire her. She told me that the person that did this was against Jewish people. Like, they were clearly like from the jump just had different like belief systems. Oh. And she's currently working with someone that like completely respects her. Our current workspace is super open, so she no longer experiences discrimination from her employers, thankfully. I haven't checked like how much time I've taken up, but
you have a little over 2 minutes left.
Perfect. Okay. So from speaking to her, I basically wanted to know like what she would say to me. What are some things that she wants to leave for me? And that is, from her time in the military, she wants me to question everything, question the military industrial complex, question the treatment of women, ask questions. In her personal life, she's basically advocating for seeking validation and happiness from yourself and not from others. She feels that at the age of 20, she was barely starting to decide to express herself as a woman. For many years, she just like hid that, and she feels that she should have done that at a younger age, just to get rid of people who did not have her self-interest in mind earlier. She believes she could have like she could have spent more time being happier if she had just expressed herself earlier. She is overall a really great person. From her time, she was born in Rochester, New York, and that is a city that experiences a lot of poverty, over policing. She said that there was a little bit of opportunities for work, and that put her in positions where her friends were seeking employment in dangerous situations, either through like sex work or through selling some type of substance. And because of those situations and the circumstances she was in Rochester, that really did lead her to just get into the military. She said to me, people who are in Rochester either stay in Rochester and die there or move. I'm not going to be a person that dies there. And I was like, wow, morbid, but I love it. Okay. Because now she's living in LA and living her best life, advocating for other women, because she understands how it is to be someone that is often like discredited, discriminated against, disrespected. But she doesn't let that bother her. She spends a lot of time in a veterans club for people that are she is in a club specific for people that are open to LGBT people. She wants to avoid any like situation where she could be discriminated against. So she puts herself in bubbles that are positive. And she has another interesting part of her life was that she was in 2 previous marriages and apparently had a very bad time in them. And now she prefers open relationships and has partners who respect her, and she loves them very much and wants to stay with them for as long as possible. So she's just a person that, like, I personally have never really considered some of the experiences or beliefs that she has. So it's interesting when we get to conversate together because I just learned so much more, like, perspectives on life. And she's also just extremely knowledgeable, so it's fun to talk to her. Yeah, I still have a lot more to write about and a lot more questions that I need to go through. I want to learn more about her time in the Navy. And yeah, I look forward to writing more. Thank you.